All right. So it's A Square Podcast. It's your boy DJ Aaron alongside my brother Cornbread Antonio. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. We got a special guest in the building. Antonio, you put this one together, so why don't you introduce to the world, to the people out there, who we got with us today?
First, I would like to ask, what have you done for your country, DJ Aaron? What have you done, man?
What have I done lately?
Yeah.
I went out and cleaned up a bunch of stuff off the street earlier, so I guess that was good for the environment.
All right. I barbecued on the 4th of July. That's the most I've done, man.
Oh, okay.
We have an Olympian on today, man. So
this is two for us.
Two of us, okay. I would like to introduce Chantae McMillan to the A Square Podcast. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Great.
We're great. As always, when we have interviews, we love for you to introduce and tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, maybe went to school, whatever you like to tell the listeners.
Sure. I am from Rolla, Missouri. I'll start there. My parents were in the Army, brought me here, and then I became really good at track. So I got scholarships across the country, and then I decided to go to the University of Nebraska. And then I just kept getting better at track, and I started moving all over. I decided to move to Ohio first, where my coach trained me to the Olympics. So I made the 2012 Olympic team, and I'm still training to this day. But now my life includes a 1.5-year-old son and a husband as well.
I'm sure that's very busy.
It is, yeah, but I still got to be selfish with my own training.
Absolutely. So the 2012 Olympics was in London, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Do you mind going us through that, how that process was, being that experience?
Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity, obviously. London, I like London. It's okay. I can say I visited there. Just being around the best athletes in the world at their sport was one of the biggest things I took away. The friendships I still have to this day from everybody. And then one of my favorite parts was walking out. So I did the heptathlon. That's 7 events: 100 hurdles, high jump, shot put, 200, long jump, javelin, 800. Wow. So walking out for the first event in front of 80,000 people, like stands were full of people. That doesn't happen for the heptathlon ever. So just taking all that in for my first event, the 100 hurdles, but just being able to get right back into the zone to do what I was there for was one of my favorite takeaways from the Olympics.
Absolutely. Are all those events on the same day, over 5 days? How does that work?
Yes, it's a 2-day process. So 4 events on the first day, and then the next 3 on the next day.
Okay. Aaron, you got anything?
So what is is there a huge difference I would assume so, but the difference between training for the Olympics and training in college? Like, what is there, what type of differences is the training? Is it essentially like a lot more intense? What do you think? Like, what was your experience in that?
I would say as the transition, the biggest part was just being more focused on that specific goal. So I didn't have, so I moved to Ohio. I didn't have as many friends. I didn't have school to focus on either. So I was solely an athlete training every single day. And it was me and my coach out there every single day at the track. So I didn't have teammates. So it was very, very specific and so focused on what we had to get done. So I feel like that was the biggest difference. But that next level is always different from elementary to high school to college to elite or professional. So yes, you just keep getting more in tune with what you're trying to accomplish pretty much.
Right.
First off, I would like to ask you a question before I go to my lead-up question, but how's the family doing with, obviously with COVID-19 and everything? How are you guys managing?
We are doing pretty well, actually. My life wasn't too affected just because I still have a track. It's outside and they haven't closed that down. And then, I have my own javelins for that training. And then I also have my own weights in the garage. So my training has not changed at all. And then my husband, um, they kind of changed a little bit with the military. He's in the Army. So they kind of backed up and took the group sessions out, I guess. So they weren't, how everything is going on. You're not supposed to be more than groups of 10 people or whatever. So they backed up from that. And then my like cousins and everybody else, I mean, no one has really been affected by this. So I'm pretty thankful for that.
Absolutely. I know every day we see that a different sporting event or teams have, tested positive and stuff like that. So obviously be safe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it stinks that my whole season was taken away. I did get to compete once back in March, but honestly, it's a blessing in disguise having the Olympics push back one more year for myself, just another year to learn more about javelin, since I'm solely focused on that and not the whole heptathlon. I'm learning so much about this one event now.
And that's what I was going to ask. The Tokyo Olympics 2020 got moved to next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe your friends, or you have relay friends or whatever, like how does that affect them on, they can't work as a team, especially at the beginning of the year? I don't know if you heard that.
Right. I mean, that the relays all come together at the end. Like after the Olympic trials, you'll just take like the top obviously 4 people that make the team for like the 100-meter dash, and then they are the team for the Olympics. So that's not something that they practice throughout the whole year. They just practice it once they come together at our training camp between the Olympic trials and then competing at Tokyo.
Okay.
So, I mean, track and field's not a team event. So like I said, I'm sure a ton of us are still the training just as normal without, I mean, there are the issues that people were training at NCAA facilities. So those have all closed down. So those people had to figure out other ways to train. I've seen people build runways in their backyards and just jumping at high schools. So we're finding our ways.
Absolutely. And you got anything?
Go ahead, Antonio.
Yeah, so let's get into when I saw you. It's pretty crazy. I've been watching, if the listeners don't know, this is the second season of the Titan Games. I watched last year. Actually, I live in Atlanta, so I think the female who won lives in Georgia or something like that. So I was like, man, I wish I could, reach out to her and, try to get her on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Then I see this one person who got invited, and then she won. I said, man, we would love to have her on. And obviously it's, it's you. So do you mind telling us that process of the call, if you had to put in for it, if you had to get selected, what was that whole process like?
Yeah, so they did a little of both. You entered to have a chance to be on the show, and then they also were reaching out to people to be on the show. So I was reached out to through a Instagram message, and then I didn't think that was real, so I didn't reply. And then a few days later, I got an email. I was like, okay, this is legit. So then I moved forward and set up an initial like Skype interview to like see if I was okay to move forward. And then I got invited to the combine that we had in January, just testing physical abilities out, make sure we could do certain things. And then a few days later, I got invited to the actual show. And then we filmed the first 2 weeks of February, and that's it.
And you won. Wow, what's the championship?
So I didn't. So I became a Titan. I got to wear the black uniform and be like king of the throne for a couple of weeks, according to the show, a couple of weeks. And then I got dethroned, and now I'm off the show. But it was quite the experience. Like I said, we filmed the first 2 weeks of February, so it was exhausting. We were competing 2-3 times a day sometimes, and it, like, you could tell on my last time competing, I was just done. I was like, I'm okay to go home. It's okay.
Yeah, that event looked pretty tough. I think it was like a bungee cord against you and the other female, and you had to knock.
Yeah, we were just tied together, and I mean, looking back, people right after the show, I got a ton of texts just saying, that wasn't fair. That girl had 20 pounds on you. I was like, you guys are right. Yeah, it wasn't fair at all. But it was okay. I was fine with it.
It's crazy because not only you're an Olympian, but you're literally a gladiator. Like, I think you're the first gladiator that we've had on the show, and that's a fact.
I know. It's cool. I mean, obviously, I want to be a 2-time Olympian and put that on my resume quite higher than being a Titan, because I still don't know what a Titan is. But it was quite the experience, like I said. And yeah, I can put Titan behind my name.
I was meeting The Rock and Kerry Champion. How was that?
Oh, great. Yeah. The Rock, I look at him as from like his work ethic perspective. Like, he's obviously always on Instagram posting videos of his workouts and his dedication and motivation behind all that. And I look at him as a former athlete as well, competing at University of Miami, and just I tried to feed off of that from him, take that work ethic with me after I left filming. So, and Carrie, she was nice as well.
It's cool.
Yes. Most, like, everybody that were there as athletes, we all got along so well. And just because we had such unique backgrounds that actually aligned together. So the way the producing cast brought us together was pretty amazing in the end. Sorry.
And what was the time frame between you going from like training to be on the show or whatnot to that show actually happening again? What was that time frame?
So I got invited back November, December time. That's when I got first invited. And then the combine was the middle of January, and then we started filming the first week of February.
It seems like that's extremely fast. So, what
I
was
thought so.
Yeah, like, considering the fact of all the stuff you have to like do and learn, like, and execute it. So,
Oh yeah, well, we were not prepared for what we were getting into. We didn't know what the obstacles or challenges were going to be. So there was no like training for that show at all. I didn't change up any of my training. I just kept training with my program that my coach had given me for javelin. So I did nothing different for the show.
that seemed like they kind of just throwing you right under the bus.
Oh yeah, you didn't have an opportunity to try out the challenges beforehand either. They brought us into the studio and they're just like, here it is, here's the objective, the rules, see you guys in an hour.
Wow.
I would like to back up a little bit and talk about, I remember hearing that Olympic athletes get paid, obviously, like if they get a gold, silver, or bronze, they get, a gold medal is $25,000 or something like that. So I forgot the number, but they get paid when they win, right? But if you don't win, do you get any money? Like, how does
No.
it work? Through endorsements, or how does that
work?
work?
Oh yeah. So Olympic athletes are solely relying on sponsorships throughout our whole career. So it's been pretty rough training for, I guess, 10 years now. I believe almost 10 years I've been training as a professional. So I rely on sponsorships. Yes, like you said, you get a bonus if you get a gold, silver, or bronze medal. Different money amounts are rewarded for those. And then we look at our sponsors for having contracts with them. For if I make the team, then you give me this bonus. If I medal, then you give me this bonus as well. So that's where we really rely on big chunks of income. And then throughout the year, we rely on them giving us money as well to make a living.
So next year, I think 2021, most sports, which I hope track and field and just the smaller sports are included in this as well. But how do you feel about players in college? I play college football. How do you feel about, those athletes getting paid for their likeness and endorsements and things like that?
Oh, I think it's great. 100%.
High five you?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, because they're using our image, they're using our words, they're using us to make a profit. So those athletes definitely, I wish I was a part of that movement back when I was in college. Yeah, for sure. Just, yeah, they deserve to be rewarded and start building their future.
I'm with you. Got anything in?
Go ahead, Tony. You got it.
I got 2 more questions. I know I saw the little man in the back, so I know you got to get to him.
I got away just so he didn't interrupt.
Yeah. We all got kids, so happy Father's Day to your husband.
Oh yes, I will tell him.
So I remember vaguely seeing you, but this is a long time ago, and I'm gonna bring up why I say that is because if this is right, were you on the ESPN? I think the Skins cover or something like that when they take the nude photos.
Yeah.
I've
ESPN.
always been so I've always been like, I don't know how they do this, and this is the confidence through the roof for you guys to do that. And I think Odell Beckham and I think Kevin Love or something like that was on your class. So you mind talking to us about that?
Oh yeah. I'll just start from the beginning. I thought that was a fake opportunity as well. I got it. I got an email and I was like, no way this is happening.
I like your mentality. Everything is fake until paper is in front of you.
Exactly.
Like it's real now.
So I immediately called my best friend and I was freaking out. And then I called my parents next to get the approval of what was about to happen. And yeah, I just moved forward. Like this was legit on my bucket list to get accomplished. And I never really thought it would, but it did. So that was 2015 ESPN body issue. They flew me out to San Diego, and then we drove 2 hours back east into the desert. And we were out there. We started at 5 a.m. and just to beat the sun. And when the sun came, that sand heated up super quick. Like my feet, like we would take a shot and then I'd have to rest my feet real quick. But for the one shot that ended up on the cover, like I didn't even know I was going to be on the cover until like I was going to be in the magazine. And then like a couple weeks later, they like, look, we're going to be on the cover. You got chosen. I was like, oh, cool. I mean, it was more exciting for them because I didn't know what was really happening. But like nowadays, I'm like, this is really awesome. I was on the cover. So for the cover shot, they set up a trampoline in the middle of the desert, and I was just doing backflip after backflip, and they got that shot, and it was really fun. The trampoline was getting hot as well, so it was like, how fast can we get this done?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I will ask this though, because I think that this is really important because we're all parents here now. So I do want to know like what it's like now. You have a child and you have to balance that, and then you have to balance your family, your entire family life, husband, you being a wife and you being a mother, and your career. Like, how do you manage everything? And because you have a baby, like my kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can go make his own oatmeal. He's good. But you have a baby, and then you're getting ready, you're training for the next Olympics. So like what type of schedule, like how do you maintain and stay focused on your goal for this upcoming Olympics?
Yeah, it's a process I'm still figuring out every single month right now. So like I said earlier, it's about me being selfish still within my process. And like I have this major goal that I'm chasing. My husband has a major goal that he's chasing. He's in the Army now, he's learning how to fly helicopters. Like he's probably flying right now, which is, it's crazy. Like I'm never gonna fly a helicopter. So that's really amazing that
we've interviewed a helicopter pilot too, so we need to link them up. Let me know.
Yes.
Link them up.
Yeah, they probably learned from, was that guy military? I don't know.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay. So they would love to talk then. But so I found myself getting into the situation where I was putting myself behind his schedule, and I had to back up and refocus on what I'm trying to get done and how we can both put our time like at the forefront, I guess. So it's really involving more childcare. Right now I have my mother with me, so that's a amazing, huge help. Like not as expensive, obviously, as other childcare. So, it's not expensive; it's free. So that's a huge help, a big part of the process, because I guess my day is waking up, take care of him, and then I train midday every single day, and then I can come back and regroup and evaluate how my family needs to be taken care of, like cook, make dinner, and then my own recovery comes after that. So I couldn't do the heptathlon anymore if I did have a family, because that training was legit like 3 to 6 hours a day. Like that was my whole day. So definitely retired from the heptathlon. Even though I did like ask my coach, I was like, "What do you think about me doing the heptathlon again?" He's like, he just laughed, so I just took it as a no. But but then he came back the other day. It was like, "You didn't ask me." I was like, "I did. Do not play that game." But maybe it's still up in the air. I don't know.
So
I'll just,
it sounds like it's really important to have that. You have to have that support system. Like,
oh,
you have to have a support system
yes,
where the people
yes,
around you that understand the goal,
understand.
know what's going on, because that's the hard part.
100%. There's so many, I have so many friends that really don't understand like my thought process throughout the day, what I want to achieve and how much it takes to achieve all of this. So that's just, my husband understands, my mom understands, and those are my biggest, that's my team right there. And then obviously my coach understands as well. He's an Olympian himself, so he gets it.
Wow. Okay. This is my last question. Obviously, the A Square podcast will be rooting for you next year, and I think it's in Tokyo again, right? They just
Yes,
moved it next year.
Tokyo.
Okay, so A Square podcast will be rooting for you in Tokyo.
Thanks.
So what's some motivational, what's something that you would tell the next Chantae McMillan who's coming up, who wants to be an Olympian, or, you know, especially being an African-American female in America, or just whatever?
Mm-hmm.
What's something that you would tell the next person who's listening? Maybe they're 16, 17 and trying to go pro.
Yeah, I think people get so pigeonholed into thinking that they can't do something because they don't have the resources, but I think you can figure out a totally different way to reach that same goal by being creative and thinking outside the box. So I always encourage people to reach for those goals. Like every single goal they have, see it, write it down, tell it to yourself daily, like say it out loud to yourself daily. Like I write in a journal every single day, and I encourage every single person that comes across my path that is looking for motivation to journal. It doesn't matter what you write about, right? You feel good about something, you feel bad about something. Like I said, write down your goals and how you're going to get there today, tomorrow, the week, the month, like every single month, and then you're going to get there eventually. But I always encourage people to see it, like I said, and keep it in your view, like every single hour. I don't know, like for me, like I see it all day long, you know. And I just encourage people to don't, like I said, I don't know, like
Just
You
go
said,
my
out.
mind
you know what you
my
you
mind
said?
is just going. I
Right.
always just want people to be the best version of
Right.
themselves,
Right.
Right.
and don't give themselves any excuse. Don't let other people bring them down. Like, do you, like,
Yeah, fact.
you can accomplish so much. Just figure it out and reach out to people you think can help you, or not. Just keep growing always.
And even
I
if
gave
you
a
don't
lot.
succeed, it's still a learning process. It's okay.
Oh yeah. Keep learning, keep developing every way you can.
You seem like you really love what you do, and
Um,
I love talking to people like that, because I love, like, I'm a DJ. That's what I do. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like when I play for people and I get a chance to see people dancing and having a good time, it's like I just
exactly.
take all the mess out of their life for just a few
Yep,
hours,
yep.
and then, like, it makes me feel good. You just seem like this is what you truly love. Like, you have great energy
Yeah.
behind you with that.
I was like these past few weeks, I've been trying to figure out what I want to do within this process, and then after I'm done training for the Olympics. And I truly feel like I love track and field, and that I will have track and field in my life forever. And I think I want to coach when I'm done with this, just like my coach did with me.
It's awesome. Well, we
Yeah.
certainly do appreciate you taking this time and coming on here and talking to us. It really means a lot. And like Tonio said, we will definitely be rooting for you for sure.
Thanks. Thank you.